Am I the unreasonable one cursing in front of my family after being a running joke for years? A little background info: I am short, not incredibly short at 5'1", but when compared to the rest of my family, it's obvious that I am lacking in stature. And ever since I was 12, it's been a huge joke at our gatherings. At first it was okay because it only felt like a bit of teasing, but it has constantly been brought up. And when I mean constantly, I mean that I will be sitting in the corner minding my own business, and my cousins or my aunts and uncles will be talking and laughing about me. My grandmother is by far the worst. They don't do this to anyone else, so it sucks when they single me out. It's gotten to the point where I am so tired of it. My height was never something I was ashamed of, but with the people I love talking about it, my cousins comparing themselves to me, and my grandmother almost scolding me about it, I just want to grow 5 inches to get them off my back. By now, it has been ingrained in everyone's minds that if they are at least taller than good old me, then they're not that bad. It's usually little remarks, so I don't want to make a scene, but today I officially mouthed off. We were all at my uncle's house this weekend. I was sitting at the table, painting something, when my cousins came in. They were wearing high heels from my grandmother's closet and everyone found it hilarious and adorable. And that was when my uncle said, "Wow, even if OP wore those, she'd barely be bigger than you all." And then my nana said something equally as stupid, something about how I wouldn't even be able to fit in those shoes anyway, with how small everything is about me, which kind of started mutual teasing, read mocking. That's when I said, "Yeah, guess what, guys? I had a heart condition for the first 5 years of my life that stunted my growth, and everyone in my dad's family is tiny. At least I have a biological excuse for being short." You don't have excuses as to why you're all holes. Everyone went quiet. My uncle was quick to scold me for the language, and my grandmother said, "We're all trying to be nice. We're teasing you lovingly, giving you attention. Everyone wants attention. Would you rather just be all alone, drawing?" I told her that I would rather be left alone than have to constantly be ridiculed, and then left. Everyone has been treating me differently and I feel scummy. The youngest person there was 8, and I know I shouldn't have talked like that in front of her. So, am I the unreasonable one? Added, I'm a 15-year-old girl if that's important. Not the unreasonable one. Repeated teasing is not positive attention. Good on you for letting them know it bothers you. And that's really lousy of them to pick on you and bully you. Apologize for the swear, edit, to the kids, and that's it. Not the unreasonable one. Glad you spoke up for yourself. And don't feel bad for swearing in front of the kid. She also saw a woman standing up for herself and against bullying. That's also important. Am I the unreasonable one for telling my niece that her dad is wrong in front of him? My 20-year-old female niece, 14 years old female, was on her phone, apparently talking to her boyfriend. My brother has always joked about being an overprotective dad. He has made offhand comments. Last night, he saw her on her phone. She was smiling and she just kind of giggled, and my brother asked her what she was doing. She hid her phone behind her back, and my brother told her to show it to him. He asked her who she was talking to. He looked a little annoyed, so I jumped in and told him to leave her alone. I would be horrified if my dad ever tries to read my texts to my BF, so I understood her problem. My brother got super angry for some reason, and he snatched her phone. He read a few texts aloud which said things like "I love you, I miss you, I want you to kiss me," etc. I think it's just normal teenage behavior. But my brother got super angry. He tried to call my niece's BF, probably to yell at him, and my niece grabbed her phone back. My brother snatched it again and threw it on the floor. The screen cracked actually. My niece was in tears, and I just felt so bad for her. I tried to console her, and I told her firmly that her dad was wrong. She was absolutely right in this, and it wasn't her fault at all. I told her I would get her a new phone, and she should talk to her BF if she wants to. My niece was sobbing pretty badly, and she shut herself in her room. My brother justified his behavior by saying that he was trying to keep her safe from men who will try to use her. He says it's his duty to protect his daughter. These days there are a lot of teenage pregnancies, and he doesn't want that to happen to his daughter. He says it's too young for her to have a boyfriend. Teenage boys are like animals. They'll devour her. Ew, it's what he said. He told me to stay out of it, and he was angry at me for undermining his authority. He thinks I'm an outsider who shouldn't have interfered his parenting. I strongly disagree. Am I the unreasonable one? Not the unreasonable one. That's not being an overprotective parent, that's being controlling and abusive. He mocked her and broke her property, still her property even if he bought it, because it's hers. It's ironic he's worried about her getting pregnant, because acting like that will just push her to the exact guys he's worried about. He needs to talk with her like a person who can listen and comprehend why he's worried. She's 14 not 4. Not the unreasonable one. His actions were abusive and perhaps he should know that if he behaves like that towards his daughter, by demanding to see her phone and smashing it when she doesn't comply, he is teaching her that she should allow future men in her life to behave that way by normalizing it. Am I the unreasonable one for naming my daughter the name I chose years ago? I had my daughter a week ago. I had chosen her name a long while ago because it had a very personal meaning for me. Before I was pregnant, my sister and I had been talking about what we'd like to name our kids, and I told her the girl name I really wanted to use. She complimented me on it and then we didn't talk about it again. She gave birth to my niece 5 months ago, and guess what name she used? That's right, the name I had chosen so long ago. I didn't care, was a little annoyed by it, but I wasn't going to let it stop me from using the name. Now she's annoyed I use the name too. She told me it was weird that I would use it and that the cousins have the same first, middle and last name. I told her I wasn't going to change the name I had wanted for a long time, that had a deep meaning for me, just because she decided to use it after I told her the name. She said as the first one to have a baby she got dibs. I told her to get over it and it was a name anyone could use. Am I the unreasonable one? I don't think she's an a-hole FYI. I think she's entitled to use the name, but she's kinda being a-hole-ish when she knows how I felt about the name. Editing to add details I provided below so it doesn't keep getting asked. My husband took my name when we got married and my sister is a single mom, hence the same name. We live 2 hours from each other. The first name was my best friend's name. She died when we were 14 and I always planned to name a daughter after her to honor her, so it is very special. The middle name holds important significance due to a trauma I suffered and the healing it brought in a situation. It's a weird story I will admit, and I shared more detail in reply to someone. But I'm not in the mental state to write it out again. The discussion was 3-ish years ago. It was the full name I mentioned. She is spelling the middle name slightly different. Not the unreasonable one. She's TA on this. In fact, she's a double TA. Once for using the name you told her, twice for giving you crap and saying she named first so she had dibs. I don't think she's an a-hole FYI. I think you're too close to the situation to judge objectively. Maybe if you had 100 sisters, you'd realize that this one is defective. I mean, this is only one issue. But anyone who could think like that has problems. I guarantee she'd rank in the bottom 10 of those 100 sisters. Not the unreasonable one. Just because she used it first does not mean you're expected to change the plans that she literally knew about. It's your choice. Using the same first name is not a problem for me. In large families, there is bound to be multiple relatives with similar or the same names. But, having said that, your kid will have the exact same name and last name as her cousin. Do you not worry she may face some kind of legal repercussion or confusion because of this? It might get confusing if they go to the same school, apply for similar positions. Anyway, you would have to check the legislation on your area. But this seems a little odd to your daughter and her cousin, not to your sister. I mean, it might make their lives harder. I have even heard of people being wrongfully imprisoned because they had a similar name or the same name as a wanted person. Am I the unreasonable one for refusing to cover up because my sister doesn't have to? I guess this is the account where I post some of the weirdest crap that happened to me. Okay, so I, 21 years old male, have never minded how my sister dresses around the house. She wears very short and tight pants and never wears a bra. I never minded because she is my sister and she could be naked for all I care. I wouldn't give a crap. So now that it's summer I have started chilling around home with my boxers. They're black, essentially the same thing my sister wears around the house, except hers are significantly shorter. My parents didn't say anything, but my sister pulled me aside today and told me it was disgusting and disrespectful for me to chill around the house with only my boxers on. I told her she was wearing the same thing and she told me it was different because she didn't have a ick. I told her I never told to cover up for saggy tits. Sibling humor, that's how we talk to each other. So why did she feel the need to tell me how to dress around the house? She told me it was disgusting and started yelling at my parents that she felt harassed in her own home. That made me feel so freaking weird. But I decided to keep wearing my boxers. But I'm not talking to her at the moment. Ida, is there really a difference between what she can wear and what I can wear without being sexualized? Also, for everyone saying that there's a difference between shorts and boxers, my boxers don't have a slit in front and also the shorts my sister wears are like the pro Nike shorts. Edit 2. She admitted she didn't see anything. If she did, she would use that as her main argument, and rightfully so, and I would stop wearing them. But I am 100% nothing was shown and also she denied she had seen anything. Not the unreasonable one. You could easily say you don't want to feel sexualized by your sister talking about your ick. Not a sentence I thought I would say today. Not the unreasonable one. F double standards. My personal opinion? Not the unreasonable one. You don't swing your neck around, so I don't see a problem, and you don't wear boots shorts. That can outline anything. As far as I understood this, I don't know what's her deal is, but NTA. Your sister on the other hand would be. Am I the unreasonable one for removing my mother-in-law from my phone plan? So, long story short, my husband and I were kicked out of a house we were renting to own from his mother, who was insanely controlling once I became pregnant. The final straw was I stood up to her when it came to my religion and asked her not to touch my things, which she would to a place no one could see them as they would cause issues with the family. I knew this wasn't the case, as his entire family knew my religion and accepted me entirely, so I would put the items back and told her to respect my wishes. A week later we were severed with a letter giving us 30 days to find somewhere else. This was 1 week before I was due to give birth to our daughter. Needless to say we found a place, and I cut ties with her. Mind you, this woman is still on my phone plan and has been for months. She will never talk to me, only to my husband, and send him texts such as "You're withholding my first grandbaby from. I kicked her out, not you. And your grandmothers aren't doing well." Mind you, this is during COVID-19. No one should be visiting a baby to begin with, and I certainly do not want her near my daughter. Fast forward a few months. She is always late paying her section of the phone bill, roughly $107 a month for her and my husband's brother. They both get text messages from the phone company when the bill is due, which has always been the first of every month. I know she is not strapped when it comes to cash, but does complain when we ask her to pay her bill. I have politely asked my husband, hating to make him the middleman, but the bish blocked my number and his brother never texts me back. To send them a text message, no longer want them on my bill, and for them to pay their half. A week goes by, it is not paid, so he sends another text, with no answer back. Having enough, I called my phone company and removed them both from my phone bill. Am I the a-hole? Not the unreasonable one. She kicked you out when you were about to give birth just because she doesn't like your religion and now doesn't pay her phone bill on time. It's not up to you to subsidize her. Sounds to me like you've given her fair warning. Cut her off. Not the unreasonable one. She's asking you to subsidize abuse and cruelty towards you, and that's not right. Cut her off. Not the unreasonable one. Woman owns rental property, for crying out loud, she can pay her own damn phone bill. Am I the unreasonable one? I continued to flirt with my friend's cousin after she told me not to, and now she's flipping crap about how I've ruined everything. I don't think I am, but she's been going off about it for whatever reason, so I figured I'd make a silly, oversimplified post just to get second opinions. Info: me, my friend are 24, she's F and I'm M, and the cousin the flirt have is M28. Also, I'm gay as hell. Casey knows this. She's never exhibited homophobic behavior. Some backstory: I've known my friend Casey since college. We're fairly close and keep in contact here and there. We moved to different cities after college. Back in January I was in her town for STH for like a day, and her family were having a get-together on the same day. They all know me, and she was too busy to meet up with me because of this, so they just asked me to join in. There I met her cousin Harvey. Harvey was, if I do say so, fine as crap. I didn't really hit on him overtly, but I found an excuse to have a conversation with him, and he was intelligent, funny, and his voice was chef's kiss. We ended up exchanging numbers. A few days later after that, I casually told Casey that I got his number and if she knew he liked men. She sort of flipped and said I couldn't date her relatives, that he'd only ever had girlfriends, and I couldn't thirst over her cousin to gay harass him. I said WTF. She said I'm joking, but please don't hit on him because she said so, and also because I would ruin his life and tear apart the family. She didn't explain this bit at all, lol. For the record, he doesn't live with them or anything, so she said delete his number, don't mess with my relatives, which, okay. Anyway, I said okay, felt a bit off about her behavior, and then realized I'm a grown-ass man and continued texting him, and he texted me with the same enthusiasm. We really got each other through quarantine. Heavy flirting too. Talked to Casey kinda here and there over that time. Honestly, I wasn't feeling it after her mini meltdown. Last month I finally asked him out. It's all great. He's bi and his parents are ickheads, but he doesn't care at all. He was NC for them for a bit, irritating us he is bi, but they made their peace last year, which is probably what Casey was talking about in January. But now that we're dating, I came clean to Casey. She actually flipped crap, asked me how I had the nerve to do what she asked me not to. His mom's going to freak out and he just started talking to them. Now I've ruined everything or whatever the hell, and this and that. I now have her on mute and she's been texting me periodically for the past week with the same stuff about I told you not to. Even when I asked her what her problem is, she's never acted like this before. Am I actually an a-hole or is this ridiculous of her? I honestly can't tell anymore. I feel kinda bad because of how upset she is, but at the same time I'm like, perish so I'd. Not the unreasonable one. She's protecting the feelings of her homophobic family members instead of supporting her bi cousin dating you or any other man for that matter. Sounds like he should add her to the list of people to cut off. Not the unreasonable one. He went NC with his family before because they were homophobic. He's bi and gave you his number. He's obviously into you and you return the feeling. Casey is fine with you as long as you stay in your predetermined box she has mentally put you in. Personally, I think both of you need to go NC with all of them. Have a drink together and go to dinner. Not the unreasonable one. Go get him, Tiger. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories delivered to you. Thanks for listening. See you later.